When a series of shipping disasters points to a mysterious sea monster, Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson leave the comfort of Baker Street and board a freighter where they encounter unexpected betrayal and come face to face with the enigmatic Captain Nemo and his submarine, the Nautilus. As they delve deeper into the case, they uncover a conspiracy involving a Russian Tsar with an airship that rains destruction on unsuspecting cities. With time running out and the world on the brink of war, the heroes must use all their skills and resources to stop a massive conspiracy and prevent global conflict. From Eisner-winning writer Mike Barron and illustrator Richard Bonk, dive into the depths of adventure and unravel the mysteries of the sea with the world's greatest detective in Leviathan. Order now on Fund My Comic.
The Big Valley and Kojak will not be seen today, but will return next week at its regular time.
Entertainment news today. You're such a dragon gay. Everything sucks and it's no good. That comes out of Hollywood. But there's one place you can go to get all your news and info, and maybe even have a laugh or two. You know it's true. Midnight's Edge After Dark is life. We stand for nerds and geeks, we will survive. From Star Wars to Jurassic Park, it's Midnight's Edge After Dark. All those bombs and flops, but MEAD never stops. We will keep going through the night as we keep up the culture fight. Midnight's Edge After Dark is life. We stand for nerds and geeks, we will survive. From Star Wars to Jurassic Park, it's Midnight's Edge After Dark.
Welcome once again to the show. The one, the only Midnight's Edge After Dark, still going strong all these years later. In fact, I'm trying to think. I think it was 2017 in April. Around that time, we did the first Midnight's Edge After Dark live. So we're coming up on the anniversary here. We got FKHC 2005 firing in $2 right off the bat. Sending some love for Clobberin' Times. Indeed, we do this every time in memory of our good friend. Speaking of good friends, we got a good panel here today. We got Scribe Light, aka Scribbles, with us. What are you up to?
I'm up to my neck in work or something. I don't know. I'm up to Midnight's Edge After Dark.
How you been otherwise? You still warm? Are you trying to stay warm?
No, it is cold here.
Well,
I mean,
it's like -1 here. I don't know.
Yeah,
what it is
cold.
there.
You're so cold. We are so cold. You're so cold. For all of you Static X fans out there. But yes, I am here. Hello, everybody. Hope you're having a good Tuesday. And looking forward to talking about Star Wars, amongst other things.
Indeed. We also have CC Karaoke in here. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. Just working, work until my brain sludges. And happy to take a couple hours on MEAD and, kick back.
Excellent. We also have Price of Reason here. How you doing?
Hey, how's it going?
Great. We also have Nick Weiser. How you doing?
Hello, sir. Hello, dudes. Doing okay. I'm having some delicious, let's see, what am I having again? I got to relook here. Apple fritter munchkin donuts from Casey's. They're really good. Hello, chat. Oh, they're great. They're limited edition. They're fantastic. Some say they're great. I'd say they're the best apple fritters I've had. But seriously, happy to be here and Star Wars news. Yay.
Aye.
Just what you needed. So happy. Yes,
Is
we're going to
it?
get into that.
I'm so sad that I had to be like, yay, like that about Star Wars, because I would never have done that 10 years ago.
That's not our fault. It's not our
True.
fault we have that idea. We have that mood about it now.
I would never believe that 10 years ago. I'd be like, yes, writing, I am rambling already. A good donut's a good donut. Also, I would thought it was been a big old conspiracy, but here we are. Anyways, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, I just saw an ad for a Star Wars comic book that said he was starting off some new series on Marvel Comics saying, you know, immediately after the party of the Ewoks, something, something, something. I'm like, we all know what happened after the party of the Ewoks for real. And I post the cover to
They
the
ate a
Truce
bunch
at
of
Bakura.
stormtroopers?
No, the Truce at Bakura, the book, the novel by
What is
Karen
that?
Travis or whatever. It's the EU novel that was set immediately after Return of the Jedi. The real history of Star Wars, not this garbage Disney stuff they've pumped in.
Yeah. The Goddess of Whim brings up that the Razzie Award nominations dropped today. Yeah, it's in the title if you didn't notice. Goddess of Whim, yes, I did notice that, and we're going to check into that as well. So thank you for the support. We appreciate that here. So we're going to talk about the Razzies. We're going to talk a little bit about Ryan Gosling and whatever else comes up here. So let's get started. In fact, that is kind of the big news of the day. Ryan Gosling, I guess, is in talks to star in Sean Levy's Star Wars movie.
I didn't even know that Sean Levy was making a Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
Did I miss this?
No.
Because
Does
I
anybody
remember
care,
I remember
though?
Mangold has one. You got Ray Palpatine. You had
This was
the
announced,
Ryan-
I think, right around when Deadpool and Wolverine came out, if I'm not mistaken, or was it before that? I can't remember.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Felt like news to me, like I hadn't heard that there was a Sean Levy one in the works as well.
To
We
be
never take him
fair-
seriously. That's the go ahead, Dick. I think you're about to
Oh,
say
are you sure?
something.
Okay. I was gonna say, yeah, we probably were. I was gonna say, who hasn't been announced to have a Star Wars project coming up in the last
Yeah,
10
it's true.
years?
That's true.
And I was just going to go the other angle. I'm like, can we really take any one of them seriously when they do announce one? Because until they actually happen, I mean, they're all like Schrodinger's Star Wars. Ryan Johnson's trilogy is still happening at some point here eventually, I think.
Right. Benioff
10
and
years
Weiss.
later.
Yeah. No, when I saw this,
yeah.
my first thought was, okay, well, you've got a director who obviously, at least, you know, from Deadpool Wolverine territory, has an appreciation for source material. So that's a plus. At the same time, though, my other reaction was this feels like maybe the hype will improve it if it actually happens. But I thought to myself, you know, Skeleton Crew I hear was okay, and it had a fairly well-known and decent actor in it, but it also bombed because the brand is so damaged that nothing can really salvage it. So even if this does happen, I'd still wonder at its success.
I mean,
Well,
we haven't
evidently
had
this has
any,
been in development for 2 years. Sorry, go ahead, Cece.
I was just say we haven't had any new source material in 10 years. So what do you expect?
Yeah.
So where's the Ray movie at? What's the status on the Ray movie you've been hearing about for a bit now, or not been hearing about in this case?
Stop asking about it.
I think this thing isn't gonna do well. I think that Sean Levy make the Deadpool movies?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what we just brought up. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Disney are so annoying. They're just like, oh, this guy made money. Now we can make money here. It doesn't work that way. You need the right director. Sean Levy has a certain comedy thing going on for him. That doesn't mean that he could do this Star Wars thing. And also, Ryan Gosling, they're like, oh, somebody liked him somewhere. Yeah, mainly women maybe like him. I think that he's kind of a dry actor. I don't think that I don't see him in this role. I think that there's other people that they can cast. Maybe nobody even wants to be in a Star Wars movie anymore, and they settled for Ryan Gosling because he's kind of boring. I know women like him, and then sometimes maybe a few men like him. I don't know why. I think he's super boring.
He was really good in Drive. I can at least give credit to the movie Drive because that character and his personality, such as it is, fit. The question I have is that Sean Levy in his last outing working with Marvel, had so much control over the film as compared to any other Marvel movie because of his relationship with Ryan Gosling and everything else, and Deadpool. Is Disney going to, I should say Lucasfilm / Kathleen Kennedy, are they going to relinquish enough power that
No.
Sean Levy would want to work with them on a Star Wars movie?
They're going to tell him, here's what my theory is, and nobody can, I don't know if it's true or not. I feel like what happens is that Iger comes, let's say, to Sean Levy and says, don't worry, Sean, I got your back. Kathy won't be a problem. Then they start working, and eventually she finds a way. I don't know how. All she did, because she doesn't have anything else to do. And that's the only thing she's good at, is just being conniving. She's not good at producing or doing any kind of good movie. She's just the political side of just ruining whatever you're doing and inserting her crap. That's all she's good at doing. So then she just sits there and just takes a dump on what you're doing, and she'll ruin whatever Sean Levy is doing, even though he himself is ill fit for this, because he's goofy, comedy, stupid, and not necessarily good for Star Wars. We need somebody real for Star Wars. Why don't they sign a deal with, like, you know, with a real director for a few movies? Even take a risk. I mean, I know some people don't like his stuff, but like, I think like Christopher Nolan, let him do a Star Wars movie. Get real directors. Stop with all of this, like Sean Levy. Are you kidding me?
Well, it's funny because it sounds like his is the next one that's going to go into actual production, according to this article.
Only because of the numbers. Only because they're like, well, he did make money for Deadpool. That is the same stupid fucking thing that Disney does every time.
Is it, or is it because it's actually ready? Because it's been in development, I guess, for 2 years, and that's where
I don't know. I don't trust him. He's never made a movie.
I think it's more ready than the Ray movie is what I'm thinking, and that's why this is.
They don't want the Ray movie to happen. I feel like everybody is just making sure that Ray movie doesn't happen. As dumb as like, you know, Bob Iger
paid her so much money, it's gonna fucking happen, dude.
What, the Ray movie?
Yeah, they paid her. Remember, or they at least she's got that huge contract.
Not in the format, not in whatever it is that they did. In my opinion, what they did was they gave her a binder, meaning maybe they gave her like a certain amount of money that says like, you're getting this, but there's probably, if I were Disney at this point when it comes to Kathleen Kennedy contracts, I probably put something like, you get 10%, we make the announcement, and if the movie doesn't get made, maybe there's a penalty they have to pay. But if I were them, I wouldn't put the full amount in it, because how can you?
I don't disagree with you, but I'm just saying, like, I have a hard time believing it won't happen simply for
if it happens. I don't think it's going to be with Charmin lady or whatever her name is, with the Charmin woman. Isn't that her name? Charmin, right?
The toilet
Charmaine
paper lady?
Obaid. Oh no, yeah. I don't know if she'll be directing it.
I feel
like
that
thing's been in development, more development hell than anything else. It sounds
unless
like
somebody steps in that's a real director, you know, that's not that Charmin lady, then maybe there's a chance that movie will get done. As it is now, with the way it's looking there, I don't think anything's going to move one way or another. It's going to be like all those other stupid Kathleen Kennedy projects, and the Sean Levy thing is moving maybe only because of the Deadpool and Wolverine. So again, it's short-sighted on Disney's end, because one guy doing one movie that worked doesn't mean that all of his movies are going to work. It's just such stupid stuff that they can tell their investors, look, he made 1.4 billion. Now we'll make more billions. No, he's good for a certain type of movie.
CC, you were saying something?
No, I was just calling her the toilet paper lady.
Oh, well, I mean, I don't disagree with any of the points you're saying, Price, but I can see this on paper being like, you got Ryan Gosling, one of the stars of the biggest movies last year. You got Sean Levy, or the year before, I mean.
What's the biggest movie? What, Barbie? Barbie was a piece of shit that nobody gives a fuck about. Nobody even talks about it now.
We don't like it, but it is a big deal, and it is still a big deal
in nobody's mind. It's a piece of shit that already everybody's forgotten about. It can go perfectly with Charmin and her movie.
I made it about 8 minutes into that movie, and then I couldn't. I was not able to continue.
Look, I didn't like it much better than anybody else, but I won't sit here and deny that it was a hit. And we know he's getting a sequel out of it, probably. So,
I mean,
look, I'm going to say Ryan Gosling's probably at his peak right now. Go ahead, Cece.
Well, I was just saying what you're saying is, if you're marketing to the ladies, Ryan Gosling's a good choice. Now, I don't know if that as Price is saying, that doesn't exactly fit Star Wars. Except that they are trying to market Star Wars to the ladies.
Yeah. You see, Gosling, like so many other things, Gosling is just effectively a blank slate unless he has really good direction. If you saw him in Drive, if you saw him in The Ides of March, he can actually act. But the problem is that do you have a director that has the ability and the chops to like get him to go where you need him to for the 30 seconds per shot that they need for these deals.
He can play like a Han Solo type.
Yeah, if he's doing some kind of anti-hero rogue kind of thing, he could probably pull it off. It all depends on what kind of movie it is. We don't even know what kind of movie it is. Is it going to be a Jedi-driven movie?
Yeah, we don't know. This is very much like, because some people, I remember now talking about this not too long ago, because when we heard this news about Sean Levy, I think we were all thinking that Sherbedo Noy blah 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 was off the project, and this was that project. But now it doesn't sound like this is the case.
It's a separate thing.
This is a completely separate project, a standalone project. Where I'm trying to find it here, where it says it. Yeah, the project would be. Sources say development is late in the game for Levy's movie schedule. The filmmaker was eyeing to direct a boy band movie set up at Paramount, which would have reunited him with Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman, but Gosling's interest and involvement suddenly shifted the Star Wars project into hyperspace. So there you go. So it was already kind of ready, and him being brought in at the last minute kind of.
Yeah, we don't know when it's set. We don't know what it is. So if it's like before the original trilogy, after, if it's a sequel trilogy, if it's a KOTOR or something, who knows? And
to me, the bigger deal is that it's going in production after Grogu and Mando instead of the Rey movie. That's to me the bigger news. But yeah,
but no. My biggest concern will be the fact that A, it's still Disney Star Wars. B, unless there's some kind of deal behind the scenes that gives Levy the autonomy to actually make a movie based on his vision in the setting without Kathleen Kennedy or somebody else coming in and trying to muck it up. But on top of all that, that's like most of us here, and I think most people in the audience, it's really hard to get excited about a brand that has been so sullied over the last 10 years. It just,
you know what I mean? Qui-Gon movie wouldn't get you all excited?
No, not under this regime.
You get to see him get like addicted to the gin.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah. You tear down Qui-Gon Jinn. They're like, oh my God. Did you know that Qui-Gon?
Why he's got issues with the Jedi and all that?
Oh yeah, with the living force philosophy. I remember when I was trying to understand that way back when I told this story on Culture Casino the other day when I watched the he asked me the question, what was your best movie going experience? I won't tell the whole thing here. You have to watch Culture Casino, but it was seeing Phantom Menace. And I remember when they were talking to Phantom Menace, it's like, oh yes, because Qui-Gon follows the living force. And it was only then I realized, oh, there's different factions within the Jedi of what the force really is. That's kind of interesting. I wonder if they'll ever do anything with. Then they never did. They never did. I was just like, wouldn't it be interesting if you had different philosophies in the Jedi Order about what the force actually is and how it works? And they never did much with that. And so, yeah.
They should give a movie to somebody like, what's his name, Roger Eggers, whatever his name is. So think outside the box. Do something that's like a little different and more interesting. And bring an actor that maybe is not as obvious. You know, maybe somebody that you haven't seen in a million movies already or still kind of on the
Spielberg.
rise.
Give Steven Spielberg a Star Wars movie, gosh dang it.
He don't want one. Didn't you know that? He's been offered him several times. He was even offered the original trilogy.
Make him.
I don't know if at this point it matters, but I'll also say that they tried Gosling to put him in the Fall Guy. Yeah, there's some ladies that like him, but most dudes don't think like, oh, this is so exciting. And really, I don't need him in a Star Wars. He has nothing to contribute there. Every time I see him in a picture, and I've said this before, every picture you see of Ryan Gosling's, it looks like somebody just farted in his presence.
You really don't like Ryan Gosling, do you?
No, because I think he's overrated. I think he's just okay. He's an okay actor. That's it. It's not like, you know, I don't know why, but because of some stupid Barmy movie that he had like quote unquote a big hit where he played some dum-dum.
I
don't know how that like translates into like
time.
Cool action star or cool Star Wars person.
He was Beavis.
No, I was just going to say Barbie was just the biggest thing he's done, and that's where he's kind of riding off of besides the Fall Guy.
No, if you want to see good movies with him in it, like I said, I was going to say Place Beyond the Pines, Drive, and Ides of March. These are movies where
he's been an actor since he was a little kid.
Oh, I know, but these are movies. Like I say, if you have the right director and the right script, Gosling can be a good actor. But if you just let him sit there like a block of wood, which is like his default state, then yeah, you're not going to get much.
Action Com asks, have we ever seen Gosling in The Believer? Get some stills. Why? What's the deal with The Believer?
Maybe it's like homoerotic or something.
Shit. Oh shit!
That's right. Wait, that's what Elon Musk is saying. By my heart, I love you, or something. What?
Yeah, that was the Elon Musk story, I guess. Yeah, no, that was back in 2001 when he was just younger then. Like, he's been around since he was a little kid in
Yeah.
acting. That's what I was saying, yeah. Swift -1 says Barbie Gosling or Blade Runner 2049 Gosling. That's a good
God.
question. I mean, he has done a lot of different stuff, and I get it. He's not your cup of tea price. Honestly, I don't give a fuck. I think it's hilarious because I think it's going to be funny, all the videos and stories we get to do on the fact that the Rey movie is still in development hell when Ken is getting his own Star Wars movie from the director of Deadpool and Wolverine. Who gives a shit if it's any good?
Hey, true. I don't know where I really stand personally on Gosling. I haven't seen enough of him to really form a really valid opinion. But here's the thing. If I was in his position and I had a movie as big as Barbie and people were talking about him as an actor or his character, yeah, if I were him, I'd piggyback off that success too. So I don't necessarily blame him. Any sensible star should want to do the same thing to maintain their career. If you're at a high and there's a market that's responding, you want to go there. And well, he's not necessarily a actor with star power. It's clear that there are some keywords, some people that do like him. And yeah, they should lean in on that. Maybe that way they can try to turn him into a star.
Let's actually take that for a second
it.
there. Would it actually hurt Gosling to do a Star Wars movie?
Ooh, that's a good question, Tom. I think it depends on what type of project it is. If it's something like The Acolyte, I think that's like something that would really damage his career. If it's something really harmless, I guess you could say.
Because, I mean, The Fall Guy didn't exactly perform that great. I mean, it was well received, but it only did okay.
Right. It lost money. It did lose money, and that's a fact. Yeah, it's still hard to pinpoint why that didn't do so well. I don't know. But I think it depends for as far as Star Wars go, what kind of project he's attached to.
He's got too much goodwill from being in the Barbie movie. It's not going to hurt him. It can be a side project. Nobody's going to care.
I think you're right. I think the Star Wars things are a lot like superhero movies. I don't think they're really going to affect too many people.
People are saying that I hate everything in the chat or that I hate Ryan Gosling. I don't hate him, but I don't see him as the guy. This Star Wars movie has to be something that's like a grand slam if it's going to get anybody excited, which I don't even know if it's even possible to do. And at the end, they learn no lessons and just do all the dumbest things all the time. It's not personal against them. Maybe there's some kind of movie that Ryan Gosling could be okay for, but I don't think that he should lead a Star Wars movie. And I don't think Sean Levy should be the director. And it's not because I'm a hateful person. I think they're just not a good fit.
I'd also add, I think if
no need to defend it.
If a movie's really going to hurt someone's career, it has to make the news. And I mean, as
it
much as
always happens, sometimes their careers. I get what you're saying, CC, but sometimes, like, look at the guy who was Venom, Eric Foreman. That guy's career got killed after Spider-Man 3. Like, you want to talk about a career kill?
That was a little bit of a different time. I mean, that's a good point, Nick, but that was a little bit different time period. Because, like, we've had the conversation now how many times where it goes both ways, right? Like, none of these superhero movies have really launched anybody into any kind of stardom. Even Robert Downey Jr. can't even say that he's benefited all that much other than when he makes one of these movies. Because look at every other movie he's made outside of an Avengers movie, aside from the first Sherlock Holmes movie, it has failed at the box office. Unless you're counting stuff like Oppenheimer, where he was like, what? 4th, 5th, 6th on the bill, right? Like, I mean, he hasn't been. Chris Evans, where's his movies? Chris Hemsworth, I don't see him starring in a bunch of shit all the time. Once in a while, he'll do like a Furiosa and stuff like that.
Extraction, which I do like, by the way.
But I mean, is that really that big though? That's my point. No. None of these guys have really benefited from being in any. It's kind of like the whole Star Wars thing, right? We've had this discussion before about who really benefited from Star Wars. I don't think anybody did. And I think Harrison Ford was going to be a movie star regardless.
Well, that's what I was going to say. We've seen this for a long time. And as growing up as a Star Trek fan, I always noticed this. I mean, it's not just because everyone was in Star Trek The Next Generation doesn't mean they were all... what happened to Jonathan
none of them
Frakes
really have had careers since, other than
but
Patrick
the thing is,
Stewart.
Yeah, the thing is, though, Ryan Gosling...
were actually... Yeah, people who are going to move forward one way or the other due to talent and probably being easy to work with and everything else behind the scenes, right?
If this was Ryan Gosling's first big feature, then sure, his career would be riding on it. But it's not. He's an established movie star. He's been in lots of big budget movies before, and big high profile movies, La La Land, Barbie, Blade Runner, and on and on. This isn't going to affect him in any major way if it goes flop. I mean, just imagine a lot of people's cases, like Nick said, he comes off of Barbie. He's got a little bit of cachet and leverage. He says, I would love to do a Star Wars movie because I love Star Wars as a kid. And who wouldn't want to take that opportunity if you had the mandate, or not the mandate, the capital to be able to do that? So sure, if it goes south, he'll survive. He's already established. He's not going anywhere. So it's not that big of a, like I say, if they hired an unknown for this, and simply on the basis of the name of the director and the Star Wars could have probably done a no-name actor effectively if the brand was successful these days, but it's not. So the brand alone isn't enough. You have to bring in a named star to make it work, which is kind of sad because I'd rather see unknowns in these roles like in the olden days, but here we are.
I don't know, Liam. I have this weird feeling about Harrison Ford. I think he might have ended up, I don't think they would have. See, the thing is they didn't even consider him for Indiana Jones until Tom Selleck couldn't do the role. And he was a last minute replacement. Let's go in a different world where he never was in Star Wars. George would have considered him right away for Indiana Jones then.
It still matters that he really delivered on Star Wars. We'll never really know.
But I mean, I don't think that that's really like my point is all the things that he's done since then sustained his career, right? Because even Carrie Fisher did a few things after Star Wars, but it didn't really launch her into stardom. Mark Hamill, same thing. We've had that argument 20 times over. Unless you're a nerd, you know damn well he hasn't really done much of anything since then. And you can't really say that for much of anybody else in the cast who wasn't already established as some sort of actor. And even with the prequels, tell me one person from the prequels who became a movie star. You can't, because 90% of them already fucking were. That's Knightley. The problem with the prequels. Keira Knightley was the barely.
You said name one. You said name one.
But wasn't she already technically an actress before that?
Well, but not like a name. And what you said, name.
Okay, fair enough.
Come on. Give me my cookie. Not my cookie.
Fair enough.
Okay.
But is she even really there? She's just supposed to be standing in for.
I know. She was the decoy or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, did she even get credited as an actual character, or is she just credited as a stand-in? I guess is my question.
I'll have to find out. I'll do some research.
I'll give you that point. Because even Ewan McGregor was a movie star technically already by the time that was like fan casting in the half, right?
Yeah.
You got Samuel Jackson, you got Liam Neeson. All these guys are movie stars. Even Yoda's a movie star at this point. Yeah, Samuel Jackson was definitely a big star at that point. Yes.
Oh, absolutely. At that time, that's the thing. That was the type of guy where he could be in every single movie ever too, and it was fine.
Liam was basically filling the what's his face? Jesus, I just forgot his name from the original film, Obi-Wan. Alec Guinness role, right? Because that was the whole thing with the original Star Wars. Is when he went to make it, he had so many unknowns in the cast that the studio's like, you got to get a name or two in this cast, right?
Yeah, and Liam Neeson was Darkman, for crying out loud. I mean, seriously.
Well, yeah, but I'm talking about the original Star Wars. So he got Alec Guinness,
and Peter Cushing.
And Peter Cushing. Yep.
That's about it.
That was what he was able to do to pull off.
Brilliant.
Brilliant,
by the way. Brilliant maneuver.
And you could even argue at that time that what's his face, who did James Earl Jones, also was somewhat established, even though he was just doing the voice, and he did not get credited originally in the first film.
You know what mistake they've made so far, not getting an elderly British actor to play an evil character in a Star Wars movie. Ian McKellen. Imagine Ian McKellen playing some Imperial Admiral or something, a la Peter Cushing.
If Star Wars was good. Yeah.
If Star Wars was good, yeah, but not anymore. Not anymore.
Yeah. All right, well, let's keep moving. We got, speaking of not good, this will actually segue nicely into our last story. I don't know if you guys had heard about this. I know we had talked about it on and off. This Toxic Avenger movie that's been done for a couple of years now, starring Peter Dinklage, could not find a distributor. Well, it finally did. And these guys are kind of being smart about it.
Is it Nabisco?
No, it's actually, I think it's Cineverse or something like that.
Ooh.
Is that who it is? Yeah, Cineverse. Okay, because they just announced this. I saw this on Twitter before I saw this story. They announced unmarketable, unreleasable, maybe even toxic, We heard your pleas, and so get ready to find out what hurts because we're bringing the Toxic Avenger to theaters. So it's finally going to see the light of day.
So why didn't anybody want it? Is it that bad?
I don't really know, to be honest with you.
What did
I
they
don't know anybody who's
expect?
seen it.
It's a Toxic Avenger movie. Of course, it's going to be bad. That's the whole point.
That's
unless
the whole
it's
point,
like,
yeah.
and unless it's not like, it's not so bad. It's funny. It's just bad. I guess.
I did hear it's PG-13. That's the other thing that's got me kind of worried.
Lame.
And it has very little to do with Trauma other than they just license it out or something like that, basically, from my understanding.
There's not even a Lloyd Kaufman cameo?
That could be. I think he's an executive producer or something like that, but that's about it.
Okay. All right.
But yeah, so like this was one of those movies along with Red Sonja that just could not find a distributor. Now, I don't know if it's just because it was that toxic in the wrong environment or if it's just that fucking bad. Probably the latter. I would love to know if somebody's seen it. Yeah.
The casting of Peter Dinklage just, I was like, why?
They're trying to do like the opposite thing of the first movie originally because, he's a little dweeb who turns into this big hulking guy. So I bet you it's just a regular sized guy who turns into this little monstrous looking thing is probably the whole point.
Yeah, great.
So no big breasted toxicity?
I doubt it.
Clear eyes.
PG-13, no.
Yeah, that's disappointing.
Yikes. Yeah, sounds like it to be dead on arrival. Like that Monkey Man movie. I mean, Better Man, sorry.
Yeah, Monkey Man was another thing. That was a different movie.
It's just, man, I thought 2023 and 2024 could be like the era of the flop bus. We're coming in hot in 2025. We're like, nope, hold my beer. We got more flops to come. Boom and boom.
Well, we're just getting into February. That's where movies.
Yeah, well, waiting for Brave New World. Brave New World, guys. Just wait. It's gonna be great.
Is that a movie or
Captain America: Brave New World?
Oh,
I've been calling it bold new strategy.
Sorry. I've been calling it Captain America: The Great Reset because originally it was called New World Order, and then they changed it to Brave New World. I'm like, well, now they might as well go for the trifecta and call it Great Reset because at this point, that's basically what the movie actually is.
It's all sorts of different things. But yeah, I just thought this was kind of interesting because this movie had just couldn't seem to find a distributor. Now, Cineverse, I don't know much about Cineverse.
How much did they pay for it, I wonder? Or
probably not much.
Yeah, not if nobody else
Okay, so
wanted
Cineverse did like Terrifier movies and stuff like that. Okay, so they're just a little...
all right.
Okay.
Yeah, makes more sense.
And I don't think it had a very big budget. I think it was really low.
I would hope not.
They shot
a big budget Toxic Avenger movies like Against God's Plan.
If you're doing Terrifiers, you're not going to spend like hundreds of millions on...
Holy shit!
What they spend on it? What they spend on it? 110
I don't know
million?
if they actually spent this on it.
Yeah,
but according to this, it's 200 million.
Wait, on which movie?
I fucked this sucker into $200 million for this.
Are you shitting? No way.
We wanted some.
This was a big fucking scam. This was a big fucking scam.
Which movie?
Toxic Avenger reboot. $200 million is what it's listed as is for the budget.
What?
No way.
Wow.
Fuck way. That's what I've... Two sources. IMDb and another one here. Jesus Christ. Because there's a bunch of them talking about how Malignant only cost 40, but this is a $200 million budget film.
Where did that money go?
I guarantee two-thirds of it went into somebody's pockets. There's no fucking way they put it in this movie.
200 for a Toxic... What? Just that breaks my brain.
And there's no way Cineverse paid that much for it.
No. Hell no.
None of their films have even... I mean, even the Terrifier films, as profitable as they're still in the low end because they only cost a couple $100,000 to make, if that.
200... How?
It has to be a mistake. How can it be $200 million? That's
there's
crazy.
an extra zero there or something, right? It was $2 million, right? Or 20 million. I can take 20 million.
What I think this is, and I'll be honest with you, they raised $200 million to make this movie.
How?
Probably from foreign distributors and other places. They just threw it in their fucking pockets. This is what I keep telling people is when when they announce these budgets for a lot of these movies, and we found this out for a few people, half of the money, literally half of the money usually ends up going right into the producer's pockets. And it's called like basically the cost of doing business with them.
So it's just one big money laundering scheme, basically.
Well, they get paid for their quote unquote services.
Yeah.
So then they actually put $100 million into the production quote. And I don't even think it's that much because there's probably a shit ton of producers that are involved in this. Peter Dinklage probably got $25 million for it or some stupid number.
Inky got paid that much?
He had to have for this much, maybe 15. But like, there's no way you're going to budget this movie at that much and you're not going to pay him something a lot because he's your only star in the film.
Well, Kevin Bacon's in it. Come on.
Oh, that's right. He's the bad guy. That's true. So Kevin and him probably got 10, 15 each.
I mean, I can't.
And that's really big payday for them, I bet.
Dinklage just seems to me like the kind of small person who would totally pocket as much money as
Maybe
possible.
they didn't get that much, but still. How are you going to budget a movie like that and not have your stars go, wait a minute, I want a piece of that?
No, it's very easy, Tom. What they would do is that if I was the manager of Kevin Bacon or Peter Dinklage, I would make sure I would get an executive producer credit, which means that there's a chance that even if you don't negotiate a good deal, you probably get a few points off the budget. Meaning, I'm thinking of not even a great deal. You got, let's say, 2% of the budget in addition to your salary. So if, let's say, they promise them like 5 or 10 or whatever it is million, then they have 2% of however much money they raise. And there could also be some kind of back end deal as to how it performs in the theater. That I wouldn't really count on them making any money. But the executive producer with the points already baked in before the movie ever got released and their base salary, that's like common industry practice.
Yeah, Elijah Wood's in this too. I forgot about that. Yeah.
So I'm reading up on this, and at least one old report said the reason it was having trouble getting released or finding a distributor was because of its, quote, gore and graphic content. So
maybe
either
they did go R-rated. I don't know.
Let's see.
They did. Here's the thing. I've been looking for somebody who's actually seen it because they did show this
at Fantastic Fest.
Yeah, like 2 years ago or something like that.
Yes. Yeah. Let's see. Okay. The remake said to be aiming for a family-friendly PG-13 release. So I did mixed messages here. So either
that's
people
what I'm
are making
saying,
up, either they're making up excuses or PG-13 these days is a heck of a lot like R in the old days.
It basically is. Here's the weird thing about how things have twisted. I'll keep this as short as possible because we've talked about it many times. Like back in the day, you used to be able to get away with a hell of a lot more on the nudity and swearing front when it came to PG-13, but not as much in the violence front. Now that is completely flipped. You can hardly get away with any swearing or nudity in PG-13, but you can get away with all sorts of fucking violence as long as it goes up to certain lines. And in fact, we saw this more recently with some of the MCU shows and stuff. It's like you can show certain like blood splatters and things like that, but you can't show like decapitations, or you can show like shootings from like far away, but you can't show up close and personal shootings or headshots, right? Like it's very kind of, and the funny thing is nobody really will admit to it or tell you the exact deal, because there's a great documentary out there. If you haven't seen it, check it out. It's called This Film Is Not Yet Rated. The documentary is like 20 some years old already, but I feel like it still holds true because ever since then, the system has been broken. And it's like they had it perfect in the late 80s, early 90s, and then somewhere in the 90s they fucked with it. And I think it's right around the same time the NC-17 rating became into play, because the whole thing just kind of went into a weird, wacky place. And ever since then, you even had that like King speech a few years back, that movie where he used the F word in it. And it's like, wait a minute, that qualifies for PG-13. Why isn't it? Because the rule always used to be you could say F even in a PG movie, as long as it wasn't in a sexual connotation, right? Like that's how Beetlejuice got away with nice fucking model, because it's just an expletive there. It's not, I want to fuck your model. Now, if he'd have said that, as long as it's not in that sense, you can say fuck you, you could say all that kind of shit. But as long as you don't say I want to fuck you or get fucked, right? Like that's the line to R rating. And then otherwise it's usually drug use and stuff like that. So I don't even know why this movie is weird, because you're right. I've been hearing since the start, though, that they were shooting for a PG-13 rating. And the trailer I saw looked kind of PG-13.
Bizarre.
Because the only
200
other thing
million.
that would have struck me on this is whether or not they're setting up for an R-rated cut later on.
That could be a
Mm.
plausibility too. But that's why I would love to talk to somebody who saw it at that Fan Fest thing, just to kind of get an idea of what it is, what the problems with it is, if it's a more PG-13 or if it is full-on R-rated. What is the deal? So, like, yeah. But no, I didn't really even expect to talk about this that long. I just thought it was going to be going, oh, it's finally going to come and hit theaters. Aurora Uplinks has been a member for 19 months. Thank you for that. And sends in a $5 super chat and says, Peter Dinklage should be in a Willow movie with other people he put out of work. Take advantage with the story to use the others being pissed at him. He could play the villain. That would be good. He's one of the few, I think, little people that wasn't in the original. I don't think he was acting yet, was he?
No, I don't think he was acting then.
Yeah, I don't think so. He might have been too young at that time. But, oh, and then Aurora sends in another 5. Says, pay Peter Dinklage so much he has to accept, make him a core character that is vital to the story, and just let the other people venting at him during the quest. Like I said, make him the villain. There you go. Make him do something really bad, and then everybody hates him. Well, here's the thing, Monkey Jeebus, is I don't think Troma has much to do with it. I think it's just a licensed out deal.
Yeah,
Bless you.
Kaufman's listed as a producer, but it's probably just sort of a.
I think it's just a name only. Because somebody brought up, I think it was D-Bud brought up what's next, a Puppet Master remake. I hate to break your heart, but they already did.
Several times.
With an actual like legit remake with Thomas Lennon. And that's what I was thinking this was like, because all they did was license out the Puppet Master stuff to Fangoria. And Fangoria made the movie. And Charlie Band was listed as an executive producer, probably the same kind of thing here. So, I mean, unless somebody knows for sure that Troma is involved, then yeah. But last I knew that it was just kind of like a license deal. So, waiting for the Caligula remake. Well, they got released in theaters, what was it, 2 years ago with that newer version that I got on the 4K here. But anyway. So, yeah, speaking of bad films, though, it's that time of the year again, as Goddess of Whim brought up earlier. It's time for the Razzies.
There will be no opposition. There will be no criticism. For in this realm, bad is good. Dumb is smart. And entertainment is the ultimate distraction. The masses will be lulled by spectacle, their minds shaped by illusions, while the truth of it all fades into oblivion. Welcome to our 45th Razzie nominations.
Nice.
Okay, so let's go back and start with the actors here. So we got Jack Black in Dear Santa. We got Zachary Levi in the Crayon movie, Joaquin in the Joker, Dennis Quaid in Reagan, and Jerry Seinfeld on Frosted. Well, those last two don't even belong there, but the Joker should run away with this one.
Joker, yeah, Joaquin Phoenix is my choice.
I don't think that he necessarily gave a bad performance as much as the movie was bad.
Well, he basically agreed to shit all over his character from the first film, which I think is
yes. I mean,
bad enough.
I'm upset at him that he cooperated with this crap, but I won't say that if let's say I just saw him, I wouldn't say, oh, his acting is terrible. I actually think he tried to do good acting, but the movie is just terrible. But that's just my opinion.
I mean, I'll give you that.
But I agree with Tom.
It was not a terrible performance.
Jerry Seinfeld in Unfrosted, I don't know what they want from him. That was like a kind of direct-to-streaming type of movie that he just did as kind of silly things. I wouldn't have given him a Razzie. I don't think it's that bad. But that's just me.
Jack Black's an easy target right now.
Yeah, that's just honestly, even though I'm not a fan of Black, that just feels like that's targeted. Like, and I say as someone who's not really a fan of it, I was just like, to me, that shouldn't have to happen. To me, it should be about, is the movie not good, regardless of how you feel. And it seems like a lot of this looks very personal. And I'm not a fan of that because you could still not be wild about someone, but still like something that they're in. But it seems like we're now incorporating personal feelings, and that's absolutely insane. Like, don't get me wrong, I will never forget the insanity of Mark Hamill, but I still love him as Joker. I mean, as crazy as he is, I know that's probably not the popular thing to say, but truth is the truth. Can't put our feelings into this crowd. It's crazy.
But yeah, I mean, I agree with you. If the way this competition works is that they're just choosing a bad movie and then giving it to an actor in it, then I guess Joaquin Phoenix deserves the nomination.
That I can see now. That one, Fully a Douche, makes sense because you watch that and that made the first movie an absolute waste of time.
All right, I accept it. I retract my statement, Tom. You're right. Joaquin Phoenix can get this nomination, I guess.
I mean, he was supposed to have had some creative input on the movie too, right?
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, the stories where they were like spending time in trailers on the set, refilming or rewriting scenes because Joaquin had an idea.
Fine, and he deserves it, and let him get it. Screw it. Let him have it.
I guess the only thing that could split the difference is I haven't seen Reagan, so if Dennis Quaid's portrayal of Reagan is particularly lousy, then maybe. But I haven't seen the movie, so I don't know.
I haven't seen it, but I will say that I'm very familiar with Reagan, and I'm familiar with Dennis Quaid, and that wouldn't
I've heard
necessarily...
good things about it.
What'd you say?
I've heard good things about it, but I didn't mean to interrupt you there. Sorry.
No, I'm saying in my mind, maybe he'll surprise me, but I wouldn't think that he's the best casting choice. Like when Christian Bale played Cheney, I had a feeling that he would do a good job, and he did. In this case, I'm not sure.
See, and I'm starting to see where Nick is kind of coming. This to me, like Jerry and Dennis are on here and Zach are on here.
It all
only
feels
because
targeted.
of, yeah.
It's all targeted. Good. I'm done.
No, because they're either righties or like Jerry. He was the one who said, "You can't be funny anymore with woke."
Right, exactly.
And this is a problem I've had with the Razzies for a while. I think you're right, Nick. They've been kind of woke.
It's possible.
I don't really know why Jack Black's on here, but
I feel like the Jack Black one just is because they're just trying to capitalize on the whole shot thing, and he basically shamed for his comments of what he said following the infamous July shots that got memory hold into existence. Like, oh hey, look, he's getting dumped on, so let's just kick him while he's down, type of thing. And I still feel like that one's targeted towards that. I feel like 4 out of 5 of these are targeted.
That was Kyle, his partner, was the one who said
it was Kyle who said it. Yeah,
yeah, it wasn't Jack Black,
his band.
But everybody did, Nick's got a point. Everybody did get pissed at Jack for like canceling all the shows and making it look like he had like ended the band. Now, here's the thing, and ActionCon brings it up. The owners of the Razzies are left-wing lunatics. That's why Reagan is on there, and why George W. Bush won a Razzie for Fahrenheit 9/11. Exactly. Like, yeah, that's the part of the problem with this. But you're also right. I think, Price, when we were talking about just before this, when you were talking about why is Joaquin on here and why does he deserve it, for all those reasons you just said, because that's what the Razzies are actually supposed to be for. It's for these actors that you expect more out of, right? Like, that's why I love that Halle Berry went and actually got her Razzie for it in good humor, because she knew she made a mistake by making that fucking Catwoman movie, especially after she won the Oscar. Right, like, because I think she won her Oscar and Razzie in the same year.
Same year, yeah.
So, like, she was having a hell of a fun time with that whole thing. Like, so in that case, like, that's usually what the Razzies are supposed to be for. But they have become a bit more political over the past decade or so. I agree. But let's move into the women's category here. So for actresses, we got Cate Blanchett from what the hell was that called? The video game movie.
Borderlands.
Thank you. Got Lady Gaga on Joker 2. You got Bryce Dallas Howard for Argyle. You got Dakota Johnson for Madam Web. And J-Lo, for Atlas.
Cate Blanchett by a mile.
Maybe. Otherwise, I think Jennifer Lopez might win it. A lot of people hated her in that movie.
Yeah, but Jennifer Lopez makes a lot of bad movies. She makes a lot of bad.
Well, yeah.
That's true. Or would it be Gaga just as an upset?
I mean, Gaga was completely awful in that movie. I mean, I'll give it to Phoenix. Like he delivered a performance, but Gaga was just completely horrendous. Like just objectively awful.
Honestly, I could see each and every one of these women walking away with a trophy. I'd give them all for this. All of these. I haven't seen
agree with you.
Argyle though, but yeah.
I didn't see Argyle, but I believe it was probably bad. But Madam Web, that one, you could easily give her the award.
I didn't see Madam Web either, but I seen enough. Yeah.
Madam, honestly, if I had to compare, because I've seen, I like Lady Gaga. She's annoying, and I don't love her whole thing to begin with. But when I saw Joker, it's not necessarily that I saw her and said she's what ruins this movie. Whereas with Madam Web, you're expecting Dakota Johnson to carry this movie. I don't know if she's considered a good actress or not. I only saw her in one of those 50 Shades movies, which was awful, and she was awful in it. And then I saw her in Madam Web, which she was also awful, but really awful. So I think that she actually deserves the award.
If we're going off the theory of you expect more from someone, I think Cate Blanchett out of everybody on that list is probably the most credited actress.
I generally agree with Tom. All of these ladies could win this award. It's not like I'll be like, really crushed if it's one and not the other. But because when I think about it, Jennifer Lopez in that Atlas movie is crap too. Yeah, I got nothing to say. They're all worthy, I guess.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, honestly, I couldn't really pick one over the other in this. Well, I could have waited. I didn't even have to guess all their stupid names. Okay, so we got Best Picture, Worst Picture now. We've got Borderlands, Joker 2, Madam Web, Megalopolis, and Reagan. Again, I feel like Reagan is only on here just because they want to go after it. Does Megalopolis deserve it, though? Because it's not a studio picture. And this is the only reason I have not said anything really bad about it yet.
Is that Ezra Miller in the center?
No. That's Adam Driver. But that's the Francis Ford Coppola movie that he put his own money into.
I want to see.
I wouldn't give it a Razzie. I think it was a niche film that, was sort of a tip of the hat for silent movies in the 1920s. It just kind of... He swung for the fences, Francis Ford Coppola, but he didn't take somebody else's franchise, and he did something ambitious that was creative, just maybe didn't fully work.
And it wasn't a studio picture either. That was my point.
Yeah, I don't put that in the same category as any of these. The Joker and Madam Web ones and Borderlands, they tried to take IPs and capitalize them, and that was a failure. He created something on his own with a very kind of specific vision that most people didn't like. I personally didn't hate the movie, even though it isn't great, but I didn't hate it. And at the same time, Reagan, I don't really know. If anybody saw Reagan, they can tell me.
Let's be real. Joker 2 deserves this by a long shot.
Yes.
If there's any movie that fucking deserves it,
yes,
that deserves it, it's Joker 2, because that's the only movie on here that shouldn't fucking even exist.
When it comes to disappointing your existing clientele,
that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
I don't think there's more that you can disappoint than what Joker does here. Joker 2. I will say that Madam Web and Borderlands, wow, those are bad movies.
They are bad, but you know what? They're not really a skin on, like, the Borderlands movie is not going to hurt the Borderlands games fucking sales. The Madam Web movie has no effect on Spiderweb or the MCU as a whole.
Right.
Joker 2, on the other hand, had so many expectations. It was $1 billion film. The first one was, right? And going into that second film, you had Lady Gaga, you had the original director, you had Joaquin Phoenix, you had the high expectations going into it. They did it to themselves, right? I even remember trying to make excuses on how this musical thing could fucking work. And here I am 5 minutes into the movie going, oh my God, is this thing really what is this? And then by halfway through, I'm like, okay, maybe they're about to save this thing. And then it goes completely off a cliff again. And again, it could be one of those few times where, yes, a movie should never be exactly what the audience expects, but sometimes you should just give the audience what they expect when it comes to something like this. Because that was clearly what the audience was saying to you when they're like, fuck you in this movie, because this is not what we wanted. And as we all predicted and said at the time, what was the big issue? Well, the big issue with Todd Phillips was the wrong people liked the first movie. So he had to completely flip it on its head. And he made the gayest fucking movie ever made. Like, it is horrible. Like, I'd have a hard time picking anything else for the worst film of the year, to be honest with you.
Gayer than Hedwig and the Angry Inch?
Oh, no, that's a masterpiece. Don't you even invoke that here.
Okay, so I apologize. I apologize.
Like, that is a fucking masterpiece, especially compared to this. That is an original IP, at least. No, what Joaquin and Lady Gaga and Todd Phillips did here is an affront to the fandom, to the people that spent their hard-earned money to go see the first movie, to all the people like us who said, "Look, we prejudged him and this movie," because there were so many of us. I'm sure at least 80% or more of this panel was along with me when they saw those first few Joker trailers and were like, "Who thought this was a good fucking idea?" And we all knew going into it, it was just going to be a Taxi Driver ripoff. But a large portion of us walked out going, "Son of a bitch, that was actually pretty goddamn good." You know, like, regardless. Now you go into this thing, it's like you did the absolute opposite to your audience.
I will say, I was expecting them to at least like have songs where they sung the songs and performed them.
Joaquin didn't even sing.
And it was a movie full of people mumbling. It wasn't like that exceeded my worst expectations.
I thought it was going to be some kind of like Moulin Rouge kind of like fever dream stuff or something. But whatever.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too, is that a lot of the musical elements would come out of Lady Gaga in her head. And I mean, there's even a cute way you could have done it, like she's just obsessed with musicals, right? You know, like Wall-E. He loved that little musical number, so they have the little musical sequences here and there in Wall-E. You know, you can work that shit in somehow, some way without the audience realizing they're watching a musical. But there was no getting around this shit. But yeah, I think 6 put it best here. Joker 2 was the worst because it had the farthest to fall. Agreed. And I think that's what you're looking for. Yeah.
And that's I think why that it should be it should be a landslide, really, because of where it came from, why they did it, and even Todd Phillips back in 2019, 2020, maybe even 2021, he kept talking about how this needed to just be its own one-to-none movie. And I'm sure he did this just to get paid. I'm sure this was they would not let him off the hook. Right? Please, please, please do this movie, because they were originally writing the first movie off. And then they saw how it did at the box office. It wasn't like $1 billion the first movie. So they're like, okay, well now we actually want this to happen. Now that they did it at this point where they turned it into a musical, and they made it a point that to stick it to the audience that originally loved the first film. Now, I have been very open that I've never liked the first one, but at least it's not lost on me that there was an audience for it, and it was undeniable. I know many people who went out of their way, who don't even go to movie theaters or even are not big physical media nerds, all either saw it at the theater or all bought it on Blu-ray, 4K, DVD, etc., etc. That movie had an audience, and they capitalized on it in the worst way possible. They fumbled it. Absolutely stupid. I can at least say, even if I hated both movies, okay, well, at least there's a market for it. But no, they absolutely destroyed the goodwill that they got from that first movie. I agree
wholeheartedly. It was just a dumb move, and it was like the worst of of all the things you could ever say about the worst sequels in history. It was like Joker 2 said, "Here, hold my Bud Light."
Straight up, it was the Bud Light of the DC sequels. You took a thing that people loved, and you were like, "Hey, we're gonna Dylan Mulvaney you," and the audience responded. A lot of them didn't even bother to not pay to see it. I know people who
the Joker literally gets raped up the ass. I mean, come on. How much more blood can you be than that?
Ugh.
Yeah, they did it to Superman.
Even Batman would be like, "No, that's just low. Even I wouldn't butt fuck the Joker."
I have morals.
Penguin maybe.
And that includes not raping the Joker.
I would do many things, but that does not include raping the Joker. I have a line. And it's drawn at butt fucking. Fuck you, Neil Gaiman. I don't want your butter.
This bottom is marked exit only.
God damn it, Neil Gaiman. Get your truffle butter out of here.
Neil Gaiman's probably the type that likes unsalted butter. Therefore, he's a fan by default.
Oh my gosh. Oh, Lord. Aurora Uplinks keeps going on from before. Turn it into a cathartic experience. Maybe after the whole thing is through, bygones can be bygones, and fellow actors can finally be at peace with him. Well, that's what you can name him, is Bygone. That's his name. And he goes on to say, we need more movies with little people. I agree. Including sci-fi, maybe some just fun stories that follow them through adventures, or Ewok-type films. Well, I don't know how long you've been around Aurora Uplinks, but a long time ago, I've said I want to make little people productions where it's just movies remade with little people. Like everything's on miniature sets and everything. You don't acknowledge that they're little people. You just do Ghostbusters with little people. Jaws with little people and a little shark. You know? Back to the Future with little people in a little car.
Well, you had Time Bandits, which was supposed to have little people in it organically, and then they replaced them because they wanted to be Taika Woke Titty wanted to be so woke that he fired the only people that would have been actually considered, right for the role. And basically, in an effort to supposedly be diverse, he discriminated against people with a disability.
Yeah, I think it'd be popular. Yeah, I came up with this back when I think Dinklage actually did his first initial bullshit. ActionCom says the owners of the Razzies are left-wing lunatics. Actually, it might even been longer than that. Left-wing lunatics. That's why. Oh, we got this one already. But thank you, ActionCom, again. Aurora Uplinks also became a member. Well, thank you for that. What level? Let's see, because we do a sticker thingy around here. Yeah, when we get a member, we got a maximum effort puppy. Holy crap, holy. That is awesome. So we're going to give you a maximum effort puppy right here. We haven't done this one in a tick.
Ooh.
You gonna make it. Look at that cute little big puppy. Oh my gosh, he's so beautiful and cute. Oh, you get him straight.
I don't always get members, but when I do, they're the best members. Some say they're the biggest members. And you, sir, are the newest biggest member. We thank you for being a huge member on MEAD.
Huge member. That was so...
Davis.
Oh, Lord. All right. Well, with that, I think we got one more. Fine. No butter for you. Remember, you asked for it. As long as it's salted, maybe. But I only use it on popcorn and for cooking. I don't use it for butt stuff. No butter for butt stuff. Yeah. So, was Time Bandits really 81? Was it that old?
Yes.
I thought it was later.
Yeah,
I thought it was like 84, 85. Maybe.
Yeah.
Wow. It's a Gilliam movie, right?
Yes. Back when Sean Connery was a young man.
Sean Connery. I was a young man once, and then I got old. That reminds me, I've been wanting to watch Zardoz for a while.
Because of Sean Connery's thong?
Maybe. Aurora Uplink says mixed crew or little people only, little sets. All little sets. I mean, I guess the crew themselves could be big people if they really had to be. I mean, you would do some flips once in a while. Like if there was an actual little person in a movie, like that's where I would do throw a curveball and I'd cast a normal sized person.
Right. So if you did UHF, Pickles would be
exactly.
like Matthew McConaughey. Yeah. Okay.
You got it. And they'd make fun of him for being so tall through the whole movie.
No. Don't change the script. They just keep referring to him as a midget or something. It'd be great.
Well, I mean, it's the same way, but I mean, it's just the other reversal. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you weren't so goddamn tall, Anyway, you know what I mean. Neil says, it'll be salted, all right. You're so salty with your butter, Neil Gaiman's homemade truffle butter. Robert Montoya says, what if Todd Phillips chose to deliver for fans instead? What if he went so far as to consult with James Gunn about how he could make Phoenix Joker fit in Gunn's plans? What would that look like? Well,
oh, geez.
It's funny because reportedly Gunn tried to give Phillips some notes and suggestions, and Phillips completely shut him out.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons why Gunn didn't really promote the movie all that much, I guess.
Well, it's his prerogative as the visionary.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And as far as go ahead.
No, just even within the film as it is towards the end, when they blow up the courtroom, and he instead of going with the other kind of Jokers in the car. He just saunters off like a limp noodle over to the stairs, right, to get, you know. So I would think at the very minimum, even if you just take the movie as it is, he would actually have more of like a strong arc at the end. He would actually get the whole city to band behind him and create total chaos and blow everything up, right?
Right. Yeah, I think most people are expecting like a Bonnie and Clyde or Natural Born Killers with him and Harley. And I really felt like they missed the boat when they had him in court. When at first it was, you know,
exactly
Arthur on trial, and then all of a sudden the Joker shows up. It's like, that's the moment where the Joker would have taken the entire court hostage and put Gotham on trial.
And I didn't love the first
You know
half
what I
of the
mean?
movie,
Like,
but I could have accepted it if that was the moment where they just went full ham with it. It doesn't save the fact that we're mumbling the songs, right? But that was
fuck
the moment.
the music. That was the other problem too. But no, seriously, like, wouldn't that have been a hell of a third act? If, you know, like I said, Arthur instead shows up as Joker for that day, and he's like, I'm taking all of you hostage, and we're putting Gotham on trial here, because Gotham is what caused Arthur to do what he did, and he's like completely lost it now, right? Like, he's talking about Arthur in the third person and all that kind of shit, and then you got Lady Gaga in there just feeding him into that shit, and then eventually they just bust out of there and go on this fucking crime spree. And as far as fitting into Gunn's plans, the problem with that is where that movie takes place as far as the time period and how old Phoenix's Joker would be by the time you get to Gunn's universe. I don't think that would fit, but I wouldn't have a problem if you kind of like had a wink that it was Phoenix's Joker that had inspired the modern Joker. Mm-hmm. See, because that's what I think we all figured was going to happen anyway. That's why I don't think anybody had necessarily a problem with the ending so much of Joker 2, is just how we got there. Because everybody from the very start, because I know a lot of people are trying to say, oh, that's why people didn't like it. It's like, no. We all assumed that's where this was going to go, because none of us really accepted Joaquin Phoenix as the Joker to begin with, right? We just thought he was the guy that inspired the Joker.
Yeah, because Joaquin Phoenix's Joker, Arthur Fleck, was not some criminal genius, clown prince of crime or something. No, he was just a sad sack who had his 15 minutes of fame with a particular persona he created. So yeah, as an inspiration or as the first of a line of people, because nobody really knows who the Joker was, sure. But yeah, not the way to do it.
No, and honestly, that would have been a better way to keep going with the series, is done like a 3 Jokers thing, where you had like each movie, like I wouldn't have been against them setting up to where Joaquin's Joker dies early on in the film, and you have a new Joker taking over, and then another Joker taking over from him at the end of the film, setting up the final Joker, right? You know,
or if the Joker does appear, a different Joker appears in an eventual Batman movie, if one of his aliases appears on the screen as Arthur Fleck. That'd be
there
great.
You go.
You know, so just a little Easter egg just to say, yeah, this kind of takes place in the same universe, but that's about as far as it goes. That'd be fine.
To be honest, though, and this is just my personal thing, Robert, so don't take this in any other way other than that, I'm not the biggest fan of Joaquin Phoenix. I know. Sorry to say it. Most people are going to be like, but I'm not. I don't think he's that great of an actress. Wrong kid died. I thought he was always the weaker of the bunch.
Oh, compared to River? Yeah.
Yeah. And he's got one thing he does. I'm Joaquin Phoenix, and this is how I act, and this is what I know how to do, and every character I play is like this, and everybody thinks I'm acting when I'm just really talking down to my chest. That's all he does, and it drives me fucking nuts, and he was the worst fucking choice for Johnny Cash. I don't give a shit what anybody says.
I liked him in that role.
Should have been John C. Reilly.
Could have been anybody but him. And fuck, like, he is not Johnny Cash. What the fuck are you thinking? I'm sorry. I know people love him in that movie for some dumb reason. I can't stand that movie because of him. I hate Greasy Witherspoon, and she's fine in it.
I thought that Reese Witherspoon and him were good, and they had good chemistry, and I actually liked that movie.
Well, he was good. He was good in Gladiator. I can't. Gladiator, he was great. He was great
in that because he's playing an asshole.
Yeah, right. That's true.
A crazy asshole. It's true.
I was trying to think. There's this actor I always thought would have been perfect for Johnny Cash, and they just missed the boat by not casting him. And it was Clive Owen. That's what I was trying to think of. Clive Owen would have nailed it. Looks like him.
Clive's
look at him in the Look at him on the poster of "I'll Sleep When I'm Dead," and you tell me he's not Johnny fucking Cash.
Yeah, but
he
Clive
can't do
Owen's
an
a,
accent.
Clive Owen's
He's
a.
not-
He
he's not
can't do the
capable of
accent.
doing
He's
an
a.
accent.
Yeah, he can't do the accent.
You
He's
sure?
a giant, and I doubt he'd be able to sing those songs.
Who cares? You just use Johnny's songs.
Wow. Mexican
I-
Iron Man's going to war,
Yeah, I
Tom.
saw it.
Uh-oh.
Fuck
let's
you,
go.
Joaquin. No, there's a reason why Joaquin Phoenix has never been in a Quentin Tarantino movie.
Oh, jeez.
Because he talks like this all the time. I mean, can you imagine him trying to deliver Quentin Tarantino lines talking like this for the whole movie? I can't imagine it. What do you call a hamburger at McDonald's in France? It's a Royale with cheese. That's what Joaquin Phoenix sounds like to me in every fucking movie. Sorry. There's my Price moment. And then Dark King proposes a Lifetime Achievement Razzie for Kathleen Kennedy. I think everybody can get behind that.
Yeah.
I think if anything, how to destroy your career in one fell swoop.
Totally.
Because if you'd imagine, had she not made Star Wars, she'd still be Kathleen Kennedy.
Right. That's
Like,
true.
Not the one that we talk about all the time.
No,
Robert
people would say
Haig-
we would all be saying good things about her because we wouldn't know.
Exactly. I mean,
We
well,
wouldn't
she'd
know
be the
any
lady
better.
who produced all the Spielberg films and Zemeckis films and stuff still. Like, if she'd just quietly just produced small films for the rest of her career, nobody'd have noticed. Tim Hayes has been a member for 39 flipping months. That's amazing. And Goddess of Whim, 45 months. Holy cow. Thank you for that as well. We appreciate the support around here. And actually, I think we're going to be wrapping up here because I know a few of our panelists have to get out of here a little early tonight. So let's start with you, Nick. I know we got Toxic Tuesday coming up with Denzel and Equalizer 3. I'm going to try and pop into that one for sure.
Well, it'd be great to have you. If not, I understand. You got a lot of stuff going on in the Midnight's Edge camp. But yes, a little over an hour. Toxic Tuesday, The Equalizer 3. It's a great film. Some say it's the best Equalizer, but you'll decide when you watch it. But seriously, it's going to be fun, and we're having a great time talking more Denzel Washington. I feel like we've gone for a nice hat trick between Training Day, Man on Fire, and now this. So, yeah, come check us out there, and I'll see a lot of you Thursday. If not, Friday night, Clobby's Comic Shop with D. Bud Martin, talking classic ASM. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. 6 says Joaquin Phoenix took Tom's prom date home. No, I could literally knock Joaquin Phoenix over with my breath. Motherfucker weighs, what, $105? I doubt he's that tall either. I'd probably scare him to death. Yeah, I'm sorry I took your date. Yeah, this is another one I could get behind. Brolin would have been all right as Johnny Cash. He kind of looks like him. So, yeah. But thank you, 6, for the support. And with that, we're going to keep moving along here. Price, what you got going on?
At 11:45 p.m. Eastern, I have the Night Owl with Professor R2 on my live stream channel, Price of Reason Live, and sometimes additional guests pop in. Sometimes we have you, Tom, and recently we even had Nick, which was nice.
Yes, it was a great time, Price. I hope
Nick had a good time. Nick was very pleased.
I got about 200 pounds or 300 pounds on that motherfucker. There's no way. I would scare the shit out of him. I can be a pretty intimidating guy when I want to be. Anyway, CC, what do you got going on? Anything special this week? Are we going to try some Okie again?
Perhaps. It's still a tough time slot. No, I had quite a good time though.
We do
last
need to
Friday,
find a
so,
better time slot. I don't disagree with you, but
Yeah.
because like I'm ready like 3 hours before you guys are. So
Exactly right. But yeah, we'll it worked out, so we'll figure that out somehow. We got the group chat for that. Otherwise, I'm just working on the channel. I'm completely drowned in channel work lately. I'm trying to race through that and get her done. So that's my life.
you're not
right now.
scared of me, 6. Whatever.
So
You said shit to
what
me
happened?
nobody else would say.
Sorry.
No, she just said she's scared of me. I'm like, whatever. She said shit to me no one would say. What were you saying, Nick?
I was gonna see what happens when you have gotten her done. I've heard that phrase for years, but what actually happens after?
Well, that's how babies are made.
I thought that was a myth. I thought they never did get done.
Oy.
I mean, it's just
And
kind of
this
as
is why
awkward
you
as that
failed.
Def Leppard song where they say pour some sugar on me. It's like, okay, great, but what about after? Where's the what's next? You're just leaving me hanging with
making
both of
babies.
these.
Yeah, that the baby comes out and then
It just instantly comes out like
yeah.
Insta baby.
Yeah, we're
So
all
it works.
biology teachers here, everybody. Just so you know.
Yeah, babies only take a few minutes to incubate, like
Certified biology teachers.
totally. And then like
Well,
they come out in
technically, I'm a
eggs.
producer of one.
They come out in eggs
You
and
produced
shit.
a biology teacher?
No.
What? I'm confused.
I
now.
just get a
Anyway.
producer credit. I'm not a director. Well, actually, technically, I am. If I have to help raise them, I guess that gives me the director's credit and the producer.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
So So if your kid turns out bad, would you say they're your biggest flop then, or what? I don't
I
understand.
guess so. That means that would be my biggest.
You're a
loss at the
disappointing
box
sequel, son.
But
You're not as good as your brother.
Yeah, the original proved to still be the best as per usual.
I don't know. I mean, fucking up as humans, so it's like it'd be more weird if we didn't.
Anyhow, Scribbles, what you got going on? You got some TED Talks coming up?
Yes, Thursday at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, TED Excellence. And I'm currently looking at my lineup of potentials here, which doesn't mean I'm going to pick one in particular, but some of the titles that may or may not appear in this coming up or future TEDx's. Stoic Empathy, the Synergy of Compassion and Resilience. I don't know what that means, but I'm curious. And how about What I Learned by Working in Male-Dominated Spaces? Or Can you love your body and still want to change it?
I highly doubt that last one was about construction.
And lastly, Hush Now, Adults, the children are talking. So those or something completely different may be on the deck for Thursday for TED Excellence with TEDx Bingo. So get ready for that, and I hope to see you guys then.
Was
if
any
you're
of that
able.
English?
Those are all actual TEDx titles. Yeah, I know.
Oh my god! Are
I've
you
got-
gonna just
I've
do
got-
like a roulette wheel or what?
Sometimes it's like the decision either is it a subject that's timely that I'm curious about, or is it a title that just so mystifies me that I don't know what it is and I'm just too curious not to find out. Like the other week was DEI and the problem of the white doll dipped. And I was like, what? Yeah, no,
I remember
yeah,
that
so
one.
like,
I was watching part of that one. Yeah, I was.
yeah, I had
confused as
no
fuck.
idea. I was like, what is this? And I found out. Like I say, I found it. So sometimes it's the mystery box of the title. Sometimes it's because a subject that is timely for some reason, or that I want to get someone's take on for whatever reason. So it's not always just DEI or feminism. Sometimes it's, why I make materials out of blood. That was one before. Like that was a thing that happened.
What the fuck?
No,
What are
this
you gonna
guy.
do when the nut job stop though?
Yeah,
Oh,
so
go ahead.
just a brief. So what this guy did, and like I said, he sounded like a Lithuanian vampire. Just he was creepy as hell. But anyway,
So was Nosferatu.
yeah. So he takes this guy. He was doing some kind of like it was effectively like performance art after a fashion. He would take wasted
blood for many things.
Well, what he would do is he was making the argument that you could take waste blood from slaughterhouses, mix it with a little bit of a matrix kind of thing, and create plastics out of it for use in stuff. So you wouldn't have to just like wait that the blood from slaughterhouses could be recycled rather than just being dumped into the earth and stuff. And I'm just kind of like, and what would he make out of blood for this little demonstration? Forks, knives, and plates for eating.
Ew.
Yeah, and I thought,
That's
if you're using it to make like replacement
Totally not a
car
serial
parts,
killer.
no, yeah, it was a very, very bizarre. But yeah, like I say, that's just one example of the absolute infinity of subject matter I can come across on a given day. So yeah, but I don't know what I'll pick yet. Maybe one of those that I mentioned or something else. But find out Thursday, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. Thank you.
Interesting. All right. Wow.
This is what you learn. This is what you learn watching TEDx for 6 years.
Okay, 6. I get what you're saying here. Knocking someone over with your breath is not the flex you think it is. Yes, I probably have stinky breath. I meant like just from the wind, from the slight wind.
I think it's safe to say we all know what it meant.
Hashtag two genders.
Just joshing you.
She's got to fuck with me, just to fuck with me.
Yeah, and that's fair. We all do it to each other, so none of us is exempt.
Except for CC. I don't think anybody really picks on him all that much.
Yeah, I'm Canadian.
That's true. We do pick on you for that.
You have our condolences.
Yeah, but we don't.
do.
We don't
Thank
really.
you.
We don't do that to Script though. And he's Canadian.
Well, Mikey, get out there and do a TEDx then.
Yeah, Mikey, I'll find one about. Yeah, I'll find one about Mexican culture or immigration or something. You can come on and talk with me. Be fine.
He'll get so angry at you.
Well, that's his prerogative.
Yes. All right. Anyway, with that, we're going to get the hell out of here. Take care of yourselves and each other, and we'll see you soon. I'll see you on the morning show, hopefully, and maybe some of these folks. Who knows what will happen tomorrow? Like, the news has been wacky, and Script has said that everything has come to a dead fucking halt in Hollywood. So, yeah, that's no surprise. But, so we'll see how that rolls here. We'll talk maybe about that kind of stuff. Who knows? We'll see what happens by tomorrow morning. Take care of yourselves and each other, and we'll see you on the flip side. Check out these guys. They got shows going on later, and we'll see you.
Cute kitty.
Available now for the first time ever on DVD from Midnight's Edge After Dark Productions. It's My Two Dads, the complete first season starring Mexican Iron Man Tom Connors and Culture Casino. Available now for $19.99 while supplies last. Mikey looks so disappointed.